Bomb Bangers, phone in. I'm Matty, and we've got a busy transfer window to get through, and also an even busier game at Easter Road last night. Hibs triumph in 3-2 over Dundee United, whose fans proclaimed loudly, "Shed away, I like it, I like it," minutes before disaster struck for them. But that's what football's all about. Jack, I watched your vlog earlier on. That was it was
Yeah.
good. You captured them singing that as well, which was
Oh, aye,
which
yeah,
was
I
good.
did.
How did you enjoy the game?
Aye, it was great. It was really good. I was proud of the team's performance as well, actually. It was a really electric atmosphere inside Easter Road as well, for both sets of fans.
Hmm. We started quite well. First half was quite good, I thought. What did you make of the team selection?
It was a really good team selection, starting Dane Scarlett and Boyle, which was good as well, who got his ninth goal for Hibs last night. So that was really good. And the defence looked pretty good as well.
Hmm. We had it was a new bit of a new look defence with Garnanga coming in. How do you think
Yeah.
he got on?
Aye, got on alright as well, and then you had Paslak alongside him as well, who managed to run for defence up to the halfway line just to pass to Ellie Johan. So he is a good piece of work of a player as well.
Hmm. What did you think of his debut? He seemed to have a bit of a tricky start.
Yeah, a bit of a tricky start because you could see that some of the Dundee United players were running circuits around the two of them, but then he made up for that, and then you could see his strong composure as well as a player.
Hmm. And then obviously we went ahead. What did you make of Boyle's goal?
Yeah, it was a good goal, and then I think I was a bit disappointed after we conceded two in the second half, but then we made it back up after Johan's goal, and which was pretty scrappy, and then Suto getting the late winner, which was another good goal, and then he enjoyed his celebration as well.
Johan had a bit of a tricky second half. I thought Johan was brilliant first half, but second half it looked like he
Aye,
was playing with somebody else's shoes on.
he seems to be more of a first half player, but I think he can work on that sometimes, eh? But then you've got to think, uh, if you get strong in the first half, you've just got to try and find a way to keep that going in the second as well.
Would you pick out a man in the match, Jack?
I don't have one now.
Nah, nobody stood out for you.
Uh,
Um,
if I was to choose, I would probably say Suto.
so for his
Yeah,
winner.
just with the goal, aye.
So that was our first look at him. What did you make of him as a player?
Yeah, he looked really good actually, and I think he liked that goal when he scored it. I wasn't expecting to see him score last night, but he scored, and then I think I was left speechless at the start, but then the celebration and running about that part of the pitch was crazy as well.
And two assists for Nicky Cadden as well. It's
Yeah.
good to have him back, isn't it?
Oh, it's good to have him back, and I know that we're still missing Josh Mulligan, but I'm sure we can work around that. I think David Gray says we might have Jamie McGrath back by the derby, hopefully, but there's that illness still bouncing about in the club as well.
Aye. Right, Jack, have a wee think about the transfer window because I'm going to come back to you in a wee bit and I'll ask
Yeah,
you
yeah.
what you think of the window. But I'm going to get your thoughts on the game next. I'll bring you in. What did you make of it?
Well,
Yeah.
last night's game was it was just hilarious. Of course, the funny thing was the guy behind me in the stand that always shouts at Josh Campbell. Even when he comes on as a sub, yeah, useless cunt, Campbell. He was one of the people that left when we went 2-1 down, and there was my mate Alec is in the West Supper, and he said the guys either side of him left at that point as well. So I think it's hilarious that so many people left, and they did leave. There was a lot of people around me left. I think it was exciting. It was entertaining. And as you saw from the Dunbar end, it's the sort of game that will make people come back again because it was so exciting. It was, really exciting. It was utterly shambolic, obviously. We were shocking. We were terrible. And yet again, of course, our finishing let us down. So last night was our worst on target uh, shots ratio of the season at 15%. So only 15% of our shots on target. But we were actually creating chances, though, and we had 20 shots. And our average is 14. We're the best this season, being 27, believe it or not, at Tannadice against the same team. So their keeper only had one save to make. If you remember, that was Ellie's shot straight at him.
Yeah.
That was disgraceful performance. I mean, it really makes you ask again who's coaching the finishing. But Taiwan was obviously the star. He was terrific from beginning to end. Ellie almost made a tackle. He didn't make a tackle, but he almost made one. He blocked one on the wing, and that was the first time I've ever seen him doing it. And normally he follows the player and he doesn't do anything. I thought in terms of the players, Scarlett, he's a joy to watch in terms of he brings it under control so quickly. Paslak, not impressed at all in his first performance. He's beaten 5 times by Trapanovsky and Ferry, and he was unable to jump completely. So Garananja had to come for his headers. So every sort of right wing back header, Garananja had to come over the top of him. He's certainly the smallest right back I've ever seen. And of course, he was beaten again, and then he had cramp just before their first goal. But Garnanja was beaten too by both Sapsford and Trapanovsky and Ferry, and in a way that I would never have expected Warner Horror to get beat. So at the moment, I would think Garnanja is maybe about his performance. Admittedly, it's his first game, but I think I'd probably rate that performance as being about a quarter of what we would have expected from Warner Horror. So not a great start, and certainly Megwell, when he came on for Paslak, immediately made a difference right away. Started closing people down very quickly. He's winning balls in the air. So again, jury's out on him as far as I'm concerned. The tactics, I mean, they were obviously it was just again it was shambolic. Right? Nobody knew where they were supposed to be. At one point, I can't even. I think it was Jack Iredale shouting across the pitch to Paslak about where he should be. That's right beside our coaching team, And then the coaching team started telling them how to line up. It was clearly David Gray was deliberately playing these players to see what they were like before the important games come up. I think David Gray probably expected an easier game, and I think it probably was an easier game, but just every ball was a long ball. There was no midfield at all last night. Everything was long balls. And United were very unlucky in the first half. You could see a goal coming all the time. And I was amazed we weren't marking Lucas Stevenson, considering the shambles how much he's hurt us in the past. And 60 minutes, he actually was told to go up front. So he went from taking the ball from the defence to going up front. It was just really difficult because obviously these players haven't played together before, but we wasted loads of possession with poor passing. And I felt that Josh Campbell came on at the right time and he speeded us up. So the other thing, Ian Addison pointed out on our chat earlier, that one of the fun parts of the night was Rocky picking up Tyler as he was jogging up the field. That was a real highlight. But it was just entertaining as hell. It was exciting as hell. It was probably one of our worst performances of the season. But we got a chance to see the new players, and what a fantastic goal to score to finish it. Tremendous,
Yeah, right. I'll catch up on some YouTube comments. Ian, your mic's still dropping in in and out a wee bit, so I caught pretty much everything that you said there, and I'll touch up the audio before we publish it. I'm going to just get these comments in, and Joe, I'll get your thoughts on the game next. So, Mr. Gasgod said, "One of Hibs, mad game, total roller coaster." J Star said, "Brilliant from Nicky Cadden. If he doesn't start the derby, he can feel hard done by." Kenny said, "Evening everyone, new cult hero in Suto." Kieran said, "Great result in the end, but a poor performance. Another week of playing one half of football. I don't know what the answer is to that." And Jane Sandy said, "Hi all, great game, great result, and what a find in Suto. Well pleased with the signings and can't wait for the Jambos away." And then Kieran said, "Suto didn't have to chuck himself about when he came on. He's a unit." Joe, what did you make of it all last night?
Well, I thought Hibs were pretty awful for most of the game. I agree with what Ian said, but it was nice to see some of the new players coming through. I mean, Suto and Captain Scarlett. I mean, both very exciting prospects, and of course, Suto's our player. But we've got Captain Scarlett to the end of the season, and gosh, I can see why Spurs rate him. I mean, a lot of the Spurs supporters were pissed off that he's been let away for the rest of the season because he's highly rated down there, I know. So impressed with those two in particular. Hibs were pretty crap. I agree with Ian that it was one of the worst performances of the season, and we were very, very, very lucky to win that game. I mean, I suppose luck evens out. If you look at the games that we should have won that we drew earlier in the season, Kilmarnock, Dundee, St Mirren, to name but three. Those are three games that we drew that we should have won. I suppose Lady Luck gave us one back last night because we really got out of jail with those late goals. But the thing is, they'll have more players available for the next game. And of course, as Ian rightly alluded to, Nicky Cadden's back. And he's just a huge danger. But I'd love to see Hibs start with Soto and Captain Scarlett right for the start of the Hearts game and hit them with more than they can handle. Because we've got to hit hard, fast and hard at the start of that game.
Yeah.
At Tiny.
So we've had a bit of the Rangers game and a bit last night's game to have a look at Dave Scarlett. What do you make of him as a player, Joe?
Oh, very exciting. Very exciting. The way he won the ball and protected it as soon as he'd won it, with his clever turns and twists and very powerful guy, hard to shake off the ball. And I don't think he's quite match fit yet. He's not had a lot of game time in the last few weeks, I don't think. So, he's got a week's training, or near enough a week's training, 6 days training at Easter Road now, or East Mains anyway. So I'm hoping that he'll start, but I actually hope that Soto starts as well.
What did you make of Kieran's point, Joe? Like you mentioned about the not getting a 90-minute performance. So we played well first half, second half. We didn't play well probably until the last 10 minutes when we won the game. But
Hibs were, for most of that game, Hibs were poor. I would say out with the Motherwell away game and the recent 2 games that we had, the Falkirk game, that was one of the poorest of the season. But we just got lucky, but we were due to get lucky, as I said earlier, a few minutes ago. So, I quite agree, though. I'm really hoping that Ahura's back for next week, whether he is or not. And I heard reports last night that not only is Mulligan out for another month, but I think McGrath is not going to be back for next week either. So, I mean, those are our 2 key midfield players that we're going to be without, by the sound of it.
So the midfield's an interesting one, Joe, because I thought on Sunday we had, let me remember right, so it was Barlaser, Andrews came on when Chaiwa went off injured, and Joe Newell. I thought they looked good against Rangers. We obviously changed it around last night, so it was
that's right.
Barlaser, Chaiwa, and actually we changed the formation last night, didn't we? So we almost had just like the 2 in the midfield with the
I think against the
3 forwards.
Hearts, you're going to have Barlaser, Chaiwa, and Newell as your midfield, because for all that we got 6 players in the transfer windows, we only got the 19-year-old laddie that was a midfield player. God, I wish we'd kept Dylan Levitt just a bit longer, but then let's not go there, because we are very light in midfield, in my view. So fingers crossed they'll get through the next week, and I'm really hoping Ora Nahura is back. But in my view, the best player last night was Iredale.
Right.
I thought it was nice to see him back to near enough his best. I thought he had a really, really good game.
And he had a good game against Rangers as well. It's maybe he's coming into a bit of good form at just the right time, really, for the run-in for the season.
Exactly.
How important was that win last night, Joe? I mean, we obviously had the 2 bad results, and then the draw with
guys
Rangers.
That were sitting beside me in the West End were all saying, with a few minutes to go when we were 2-1 down, that's it, our season's over. Because as it were, we were, 6 points or something behind Motherwell. And that was as good. But the very fact that we did that, now we need to get a result against Hearts.
I didn't quite realise how big a game it was for Dundee United until I saw the post-match interviews, and it was good win, pretty much writing off top 6. I mean, that's their. I mean, I suppose they've still got the chance in the cup, but their season pretty much done and dusted. And does that put our performance into context a wee bit, Joe? The fact that it was such a big game for Dundee United, like that they were chucking
very much
everything
so.
at us.
I mean, I'm at the sort of away end, the Dunbar end of the West Stand, so relatively near the away support, and they thought they'd had the Dundee United supporters thought they'd had it won. They were sick at the end.
Aye, always a good thing. Rob said, even all didn't see the game, were the 60th minute subs necessary, or did they initially change the game for the worse, i.e. would we be more comfortable with the team that were on the pitch? Joe, what did you think about the subs?
I was very surprised. I mean, I've not, as you know, been a great fan of Barlaser, but he's been getting better and better and better. And I was really surprised at the Subton because he is really the central midfield at the moment. But Chagua, it was great to see him getting better and better. I'd say that's the best game he's had for Hibs. I agree with Ian. I think he had a good game. So we're light though if one of those two get injured, but it is what it is. That's what we've got for the rest of the season. So let's hope.
I thought the subs were interesting. So from memory, the first two subs were Barlaser and Scarlett going off. So Scarlett I thought looked knackered by the time he went off. He'd put a proper shift in, and obviously he's not had a lot of football, so you could sort of understand that. And Andrews coming off of Barlaser, I didn't think was a mental sub at the time. You know, I thought like if you're going like for like and putting another midfielder on, that was probably a fairly sensible one. But then after that, Obito goes down injured. He had to come off, so that was an enforced substitution. And then Paslak went down injured and signalled to come off. But at that point, of course, we've only got that one substitution left to make, so we had to chuck Campbell on at the same time. Otherwise, we would have lost a sub. So,
and by the way, Campbell's legs at the end had a lot to do with us getting over the line with that, for sure.
He was very clever in, I think, last minute injury time where he won a great free kick, and I mean that was well celebrated. John, what did you make of the game?
I think it started when you see the lineup and there's so many changes from Sunday, and you have that natural optimism that comes with new players at the club. I mean, everybody's going to be brilliant. They start off with a really good chance, and we didn't get anywhere near the expectation. I mean, from what we saw from that starting lineup. I thought Paslak was ripped to bits, particularly that first 15 minutes was a horror. He doesn't look fit, particularly in the second half. I mean, when he was on defending in the east, it just ran past him. I mean, I know he lost about 3 or 4 yards, so whether he strained something. I mean, when he went down to come off, so I didn't think it was a great start for him. Garananga did okay. I wish he'd got his head to the ball for the first corner because between him and I can't remember who was jumping at the front post. I mean, the balls come through. One of them heads it.
I mean, Rocky was at the front post.
Yeah. But I thought that we were really disjointed. You picked up earlier. I mean, why did Barlaser have to come off? He had to come off because we were playing two in midfield and they were running daft. I don't know if that was part of the problem for Paslak in the sense that he had no cover. I mean, Chaiwo was having to cover from the middle of the pitch out to the byline on one side, and Barlaser had the other because we were playing 5-2-3. And when we played Rangers, we played 5-3-2. I mean, so we had the three midfielders strung across. So you're going to get support out to the wings. So again, coaches have made a decision there. I think we got away with it rather than it working well. We carried, for all that we might be thinking about the goals and stuff, we carried so much luck. The deflection of Iredale in the first half that bounces on the outside of the post. I can think of at least one, if not two, occasions in the first half where we played pinball between defenders with a ball in the box, and it took to about the fourth person to get it clear. I mean, and it was just one of those games where both teams were shite. I mean, for want of a better phrase. And the fact that they were as poor, we had, so from what we would have said before Christmas was our best 11, we had Salinger, Iredale, Barlaser, and Boyle on the pitch. I mean, my thinking is that Hanley, O'Hora, the two Caddens, McGrath, Mulligan, and Bowie were missing. Now, Bowie's moved on. That's the context in which I think we have to look at last night's game. I think there was a point where I messaged somebody saying it looks like we met each other on the bus to the game. They've never played together before. I mean, that was the second half because it became really disjointed. But it did have the hallmarks of lots of new players thrown in, one training session, no idea where anybody's going to be, trying to remember 10 other folks' names. I mean, good luck to them. I'm remembering names isn't my forte. So, I mean, good luck to them in terms of remember who's doing what. So, yeah, get through the game. Scarlett was the shining light. In terms of things that I saw in the game and I thought, actually, we've got one there. That would be the thing that I would point to, is that he's a player. You can see he's come from Tottenham's academy, so he sits with athletic ability and strength to start with. I mean, because of all the footballers that are around, he's sitting in that 99th percentile in terms of what he's got there. And you could see in the way in which he was bullying centre halves, despite giving them a couple of inches in height
Hmm.
and controlling balls coming through to him. There was an element of skill. And the best praise that that man got last night was from Scott Allen on Sports Team. Because if Scott Allen is turned around and praising the weight of your pass, then I think
Yeah.
you've reached a fairly high standard. I mean, he probably doesn't realise it. I mean, and there'll be lots of folk looking up for down south, but Scott Allen, because there was two in the second half. The one that goes inside, the early runs onto, but gets shouldered as he gets to, and the other one that goes right through a pass lack that he chips in for Boyle to find the bar. I mean,
Hmm.
those two passes were brilliant. He picks out Boyle, I mean, coming in for the goal, so gets the assist there. That's my takeout is we will take the 3 points because of the two shite teams on the pitch. Yeah, I was quite happy to be a good win Dundee United side. It's always good. Shame he wasn't walking over the pitch this time. Take that, take the 3 points, go away, and just focus on Scarlett. Take a positive out of the game. Um, but my only question is, it felt like Aberdeen at the end, Aberdeen from last season.
For the
I mean,
3-3.
in the way it became a bit of a basketball match,
Hmm.
we weren't sure we could defend anything. We knew they couldn't defend anything, and I'm just hoping that there can be that coming together in the players that we saw after that.
Is it like so? There were obvious negatives in the performance, right? But it's a mitigation. I mean, you kind of talked about it, right? So a team that's just met each other, really, right? So we've got I can't remember. Was it 4 or 5 last night that played because Eldon never came on. But it's a new team really that's been put together where minus however many players through injuries. Is there not an argument to be said like that? It's we probably should have expected it to have been a tricky game, like a difficult one, and not the most coherent performance, given those circumstances. So to come away with the win, you deserve all the credit in the world for it.
Anytime. I mean, it's one of those at the end. You look at the two managers. One manager was winning 2-1 on the 88th minute. The other manager won 3-2 at the end of the game.
Hmm.
And you just listen to what they're saying afterwards. One manager is burying his team because of the attitude that they can't defend this, that, and the other. And the other one is sort of, yeah, we'll take the win. I mean,
Take it and move on.
I'm sure there will be a full day of corner drills. I mean, East means I'm sure there'll be a lot of time for the defenders to get used to each other in terms of what they're doing. So many positives over the next few days in terms of what they do. But yeah, you come through those games, you take the 3 points, you find a positive, uh, but you don't let that be your standard. You let that be the look, guys. We can put a whole load of excuses round about this,
Hmm.
but we're parking that. That's not good enough. We have to get better, but you don't have to do that in public.
Yeah. I agree with that. And how important were those 3 points, John? Like in the context of the season, in the context of the mood around the club with the fans, etc.
I think we're we're still walking along sort of that cliff edge in terms of the season.
Hmm.
Motherwell are playing particularly well. We're wondering, is there going to be a drop off in their performance? We've said same's been asked about Hearts. Falkirk have gone and picked a win up at Livy last night. I mean, there's that expectation that if we're going to finish top six, we want to be top five so we get a European place
Hmm.
on the basis that somebody who gets a Champions League place wins the Scottish Cup. I mean, so
Yeah.
there's all that sort of churning around. And I would much rather be travelling to the Pyrenees in July than getting ready to go up to Wick. I mean, Wick's a lovely place, and God bless them. But if you're telling me, do I want us in the group stages of the League Cup, or do I want us with sort of a European run? I would rather have the European stuff.
Aye,
I mean, so
100,
that's what we've got
100%.
to play for the rest of the season.
And I think with Falkirk winning last night as well, I mean, I think had we not won, then the pressure really, really ramped up for the, even for just kind of keeping fifth place. But there's now we still have a shot at fourth place with that win.
And again, you're already getting the speculation in terms of if the top six finish as it stands, we're due 4 home games, so which is the one that we're not going to get.
Mm-hmm.
So I think so. There's lots to play out that way, but no, we having after Sunday, it was like take the point, win the next 2 games, and I think we're still there. We've won the first one, win the next one.
Aye.
I mean, I don't care how it impacts on anybody else's season. Next Tuesday's about how it impacts on Hibs season.
100%. Okay, thank you, John. Danny said, delighted with the win. Interesting to see the new player. Suter looks promising. Think Garnaga improved and Paslak certainly great in attacking sense. Thought Barlaser was good and we missed him when he was taken off. Kieran said, Barlaser coming off a still today, don't understand it. Green Tea said, can't believe BBC give Ellie's goal as an OG. Boilers was more of an OG. Chaiwa, man of the match for me. The OG was a strange one. I must have watched it about 6-7 times since, and I still can't quite make out who knocked it in. So I'm quite happy for you and to get the credit for it. Ryan said, evening guys, absolutely buzzing with the win. Can't wait to watch us roll over the puddle drinkers on Tuesday. Gary said, outstanding performance, fought to the final whistle, never let the heads down, superb. Tog said, what a night that was. John said, evening Matty, evening panel. In good Hibs fashion, we made United look much better than they actually are, and we're close to Hibs in it. What a finish to win it though. Roller coaster or what, says Togs. The first half so good, second not so much, but great comeback. Andrew, welcome to the phone in. First appearance for you. What did you make of it last night?
Yeah, thanks, mate. First of all, let's say to Joey, walks past me at every game with his hat up here, and I'm always wanting to stop him and ask him how to push his hat down, but that's for another story, another day. How was it last night? I went from despair to elation. I think the biggest thing for me is, mate, that and Ian's alluded and John's alluded on many occasions that I think the ineptitude of our squad comes down to how tactically we're set up. So I think we've got an amazing quality group of players. Go back to Mowbray in 2007. We had a great squad then, but tactically he was aware. I think we're inept at the moment, and that's why we're going to get that roller coaster up and down all the time. And that's my biggest worry. We've got an amazing squad, but actually, when I watch Gray at 89 minutes or 88 minutes, just clapping saying, come on, there doesn't seem to be any tactical awareness about what he should be doing. And that's just is not his fault necessarily. I think we have somebody strong beside him, a strong number 2 that's got experience. I think that would benefit David Gray immensely. So delighted with the result. The new players look great. It's just a matter of our tactics. I think that's the biggest issue for me.
And what you talk about the strength of the squad. Are there any players that are standing out for you, Andrew?
Well, we've got 14 midfielders to choose from, is it?
At least.
And where's Mana? Where's he about? I don't know where he is now. After sending off at St Mirren, I think I've seen him once more since then. I think the players do all, and I think I'll echo what they say about Scarlett. I think he looks amazing. He's a technically good player. His build, you see, is receiving the ball, laying it off. He doesn't fall over like Bowie used to fall over quite a lot. So he's got that strength of body weight. And he looks like a professional player that's come from England, because you speak to any Spurs fans, they were surprised that they let him go on loan to us, because they're struggling at the moment. So that, to me, he's a standout. I thought Andrews was amazing on Saturday. I couldn't understand why he didn't get a start. I thought he did really well on Saturday. I thought he'd have started. Same with Megwa. I think Megwa played amazing on Saturday. Yeah. So I think it was disappointing to see him. But I think Paslak offers us something a little bit different. I think attacking-wise, he was in the box all the time. But the second half, he was left wanting because Ferry was all over him. He was down that wing, getting the crosses in. So I think looking at the new players, I think we've recruited really well. I think we spent the money well. But it's all very well having a great group of players, but tactically, if we don't use them properly, I think we might get a Dylan Venter situation where he was scoring goals for fun and still does, but we can't get him to do that Easter Road. So I think there's a little bit more to it than that.
I mean, you talk about Paslak, so I agree. You think he had a difficult night, but he probably should have had an assist. You know, that the chance to set up for Boyle, was that one of the misses of the season for you, Andrew?
Yeah, I mean, listen, Boyle's missing loads, isn't he? But I don't really want to criticise Martin, because he's been a guy who scored goals for us over the last 10, 11 years, whatever. But you know, that header off the bar when it was easy to go under, and he missed that one. He said Paslak. I think Paslak will give us lots of goals. I really do. And assists, no question. He's way better than Cadden, in my opinion. Meg was a different sort of player, but Paslak, I've really, and I think with Ardale on the other side and Obita, I think we've got strength down that line, as well as bringing in Nicky Carden, of course. But I think we missed Obita for the goals last night. That back post, twice at the back post, that's where he was covering the first half. And that's an issue for us against Hearts if we don't get that sorted out this week.
Yeah, and Abita's been excellent this season, I thought. Like he got if I'm right in saying, he got the man of the match at the stadium on Sunday against Rangers. I thought he was having a really solid game again last night.
I just think that we've got a lot of good quality players, but we seem to be moving them in different areas and maybe not getting the best out of them. And I know there's different opinions about Levitt. I quite like Levitt, actually. I'll agree with Joe. I was Levitt. I thought he was a good player. But I think what we have is we have a big midfield, but we're not connecting the defence, and it was all over the top all the time. And that's not what we want. We don't want people to run on for Boyle all the time. We want to play the ball into feet. We want to knock it wide. We want to get players in the box. But that midfield looks very light, even though we've got 13 or 14 of them. I can't quite get the idea of what he's trying to play as tactically enough. I really think Matty, unless he tells me wrong, or Ian, I'm sure, will tell me that. But I really believe that we're missing tactics. Something there is not right to make the best out of those players. So we could go and beat Hearts next week, but then we could lose against St Mirren the following week. That's not what we want. We want consistency.
What have you made of our season so far?
Well, you know what I do for a job, so I go from a very, very dark area when I'm doing my work, and I get to have a bit of light relief or some escapism for that 90 minutes. But Dunfermline and Falkirk, it was like my whole world was a one that's just a blank mass. So what do I make of it this season? I'm gutted we've not kicked on from last year. I thought we played well in the European competitions. I thought we performed really well, but something happened when we got knocked out. And you look at Midtjylland, I mean, we were great against them. Look at how well they've done since. And I know they sacked the manager not long after we played them. But I think for me, it's the season is stop and start. And we had that the season before till the Aberdeen game. And I expect us to really kick on this season. I thought, this league is for the taking. It was for the taking this year. I mean, Hearts are no great shakes, in my opinion. Celtic and Rangers have been struggling. If we had had a coherent squad that was playing the way that I think we could play, we'd be up there challenging. And that sounds really bizarre now, but that's my season. It's like that Dundee United game, season could be over, as Joe said earlier on. That could be it. I go, oh, fuck, and I've got to play Hearts next week. And all of a sudden, it's like, oh, great, we've got Hearts next week. But the season's been like that for us. But maybe, Matty, you and I go back a long time. We've had this since we were kids. So maybe it's something I should be used to by now, but it doesn't stop the hope coming.
Yeah,
but sometimes
always the hope, isn't it? Right, we'll maybe park the game for last night there and look ahead or reflect on the transfer window and get everybody's thoughts on the business that we've done. So I'll stick with you, Andrew. You said you thought we'd spent the money well. What's your assessment of the transfer window that we've just had?
Well, first of all, I think I echo what you guys say every week, is that why did we wait for the last day of the transfer window to bring quality players in? Surely we would have had the players identified. I think it was coming down to Kieran Bowie being sold. I think they were waiting for that to happen so they could see where they could spend the money. That's what I feel was going to happen. Cleege going out on loan to the end of the season, I think it's a good move for him, because if he comes back next season replacing Boyle, that was maybe an idea. But look at the acquisitions. I think we've done really well. But I really worry if we got good players and we're going to ruin them if we don't tactically get them right, because the quality of the training is what it's all about. Kieran Bowie will get a different class of training over in Italy. I think now we have to step up. That's a coach's the issue for me. I think we need to step up the training. If I look at who I like, Kai Andrews, I thought was amazing. I thought he was great when he came on the sub. First 10 minutes passed him by, but after that, I thought he was absolutely terrific. And I like the look of the strike force. And the Irish boy, can't see his name either. He's the one. Owen, he's the one that I think he'll score us a barrel loads once he's fit. I really like him. I think he's a good one for the future. So if that's my opinion, I think Suto is good. But this Owens is just a step up, I think.
I'm excited to see how Owen Eldon, how he does it.
Yeah,
I watched his YouTube clip. Obviously, it's only the highlights that you see, but he very much has a bit of the Wayne Rooney about him, and I always loved Rooney as a player. I thought he was a terrific footballer. So even if he's like half the player that Rooney was, we're in for a good time.
I think he's obviously a step up from Tam McManus. But this is another crap commentator. But I do really believe that we got some good youth there, and I think if we can nurture them in the right way, they could be worth a lot of money in the future. And I definitely think he's one that excites me the most. I like Scarlett, although I don't think we'll get to keep him. Obviously, I like Kai Andrews. I don't think we're kept to keep him. And the good whilst they're here. But if you're looking at nurturing that talent, and it's great to see Megwo doing so well, if I'm honest. I'm delighted for him. I think he was amazing last Saturday. And at last, we got someone from the youth squad that's coming through. That's the issue for me.
Meglis certainly starting to prove, like, quite a lot of people had written him off after his first couple of appearances, but I think he's definitely been well worth his place in the first team. Thanks, Andrew. Jack, I'll come to you and get your assessment of the transfer window. So, Jack, if I start you off with the sale of Kieran Bowie, what did you make of that?
I seen it coming, like Hellas Verona, I think that's where he went. It was a good sale, and then we used some of that to get Suto in, so it's quite a good sale for Hibs as well.
And Bowie, arrived at Hibs a £600,000 ish transfer from Fulham. It's a good profit for the club, isn't it? Like, to bring him in, develop him, and sell him on at 18 months.
Transfer, so that's quite good for the club. I think it ended up becoming to about 7 million at the end. I think, if I'm to be rightly so.
And what about Cleege going, Jack?
A bit gutted. I don't know what was behind that. Cleege going. You spend 1.5 mil on a striker and then you just punt him out on loan. I don't understand that. And I think that, like I said to you earlier in the week, it's just like Dylan Venti all over again. Like, he got put on loan January window last season and then went away in the summer. So I'm hoping that's not the case with Cleege as well.
And then the other two sort of notable exits that we had were Junior Hoylett and Dylan Levitt. Anything on those, Jack? Were you surprised at either of them going?
Well, Junior Hoylett, I'd say he's like probably wanting to go away so that he can prepare for the World Cup. Possibly. He wasn't getting much game time either with the signings that we brought in. Didn't see much of Dylan Levitt either, so I don't know what the point was in that, but I know that he wasn't played in the preferred position like he was at Dundee United, so I don't know if that's got something to do with it as well.
And then the incomings, Jack. So out of all the signings that we've made, which one excites you the most?
I'd probably say Dane Scarlett and Suto. And Paslak as well.
Okay, and what is it about them? So if we start with Paslak, what is it about Paslak that excites you with that signing?
Well, I've seen stuff that he's actually done, like when he's played for Borussia Dortmund. He looks a really good, strong player. He can score, he can do a lot of good assets as well, and he looks a really strong player. Didn't see much of that on last night because he wasn't at his best, but give him time to train up and get his exercise, and he should be all right as he builds on his confidence.
There's probably like some mitigation. I think, like, obviously you want every player to have a dream debut, but like
definitely.
They come in. It was like a freezing cold night, been pissing with rain. The pitch is a bit bumpy, and is it like the new system and everything? I always think, like, on a night like that, you can sort of afford to play a bit of a guffer. Like he didn't have the best night, but that's probably not the best impression of him. Like we could probably expect to get more. What about Kai Andrews in the middle? Had a really good game against Rangers. What do you think of that signing, Jack?
Kai Andrews, he was good. I mean, I was actually surprised that we got him for Coventry, but another good English team who are sitting top of the Championship. But yeah, he looked good when he came on Sunday.
And Owen Eldon that we were just talking about there as well, like the other young striker. He never got on last night, but
I know, I didn't know why. I would have brought him on instead of Campbell because, I hope it's not going to be another time where David Gray brings on like his old pals act, like, bringing on Campbell and Boyle and stuff like that. You want to bring on the new signings. If you're going to sign them, why keep them as a bench warmer as well? I don't understand that.
Well, it was only, I mean, it was only Campbell that he brought on.
Campbell.
That's, I try to think who the other subs were last night to come on, but I think kind of if it was his pals that he was bringing on, like, do you not think Campbell was brought on just to shore up the midfield a wee bit, Jack?
I don't know. I mean, I don't really rate Campbell that much, but I would have still brought Owen Eldon on and see what he would have done against Dundee United last night as well, because he is a good player. You've seen that on Sunday against Rangers, how he ran up the length of the pitch on the side and just about scored a few times as well.
He's quite an exciting prospect, and it's good that he's a young player, Jack, and we've got him on quite a long deal, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely, yeah. I think he's probably, I wouldn't say yet, but give him a chance. He might be like Derek Riordan. I don't know about anybody else, but I think he would probably be that kind of experience, probably. Hopefully.
It wouldn't be a bad benchmark to get like Raglan. I'd agree with
Aye.
you there, Jack. That would be a good one. Ian, I'll come to you next. What did you make of the transfer window?
Delighted that Bowie's left because we've not improved him at all as a striker or developed him as a player, just pretty much as Andrew said. So he's leaving Bowie's leaving at the same level he came in as, with his natural talent, you know. But you know, he can't even a ball in the air. His first touch is still not good enough. It's a mile off. He can only play with one foot, and he's far too slow. So I'm delighted for him. And as with Clegy, I'm hoping that they both get a go at clubs where they can actually get one-on-one coaching to improve their performance. Clegy obviously didn't get enough playing time that his fee and his reputation deserved. I can't see what we do at the training, but I'm just not aware of any coach that we have at Hibs who could have helped him in terms of his finishing. Because I'll just repeat, last night was our worst finishing performance of the year. So as far as Levitt is concerned, I mean, we've lost one of the most talented players we have in the books. He had 13, full international caps, and he's played 100 games in the Scottish Premiership. I mean, we've kicked him out. So he said on his interview with Leighton Norland, he said he'd been speaking to them since last year. So he must have been told he'd be leaving in January after Barlaser was brought in September. So, I'm just pissed off the fact that our coaches cannot make a better job of developing and bringing on talented players and utilise them, to the best of their own abilities. So the new guys. I mean, against Rangers. I mean, the key stuff. I mean, against Hearts, we should be playing the same way that we're playing against Rangers. But certainly last night was just an experiment, I think, for David Gray to find the players. But obviously, and against Rangers, Hanley and Rocky they both played really well and really comfortable together. And Barlaser were looking very well against Rangers. And the fact that Megwa kept Raskin quiet was great. Ellie was a good performance and he deserved to be on again last night. But Boyle to me he's a constant threat and Rangers are absolutely and to me we take him for granted. Obviously we could and should have scored more, but he should have scored against Rangers. But he really was an example of how we should take the game at Rangers. And I think the same as we should be doing against Hearts. So and Megwa has been told by David Gray to obviously go forward. So Kai Andrews, after 5 minutes against Rangers, he looked utterly clueless, but then he got used to it and he was then excellent. So I'm very encouraged. I agree to an extent that obviously Sutu looks exciting. I'm not aware of any player that we've had, except, I mean, who was it scored that goal? Was it Griffiths was scored that goal like that against Hearts at Tiny?
Cummins.
Jason Cummins.
Yeah, Jason Cummins.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen a goal scored like that since then. So Sutu looks like a proper striker. Looks a lot more like a striker than Kieran did. So I'm pleased with the recruitment. It's always confusing when you get loan players in. We should have let Junior Hoyle go a lot earlier, basically, because he confused the selection.
Okay, I'll get some comments there. Joe, can I get your thoughts on the transfer window next? So Tog said Captain Scarlett looks a player. John said Garanga looks a bit of a monster too. It was good to see him dish out a few smashes. Megwa was class again when he came on, and good to see Campbell again. I'm actually looking forward to the derby. Ryan said one performance from Gara, get the lad signed. What a player. Danny said Manny clearly isn't fancied, which is a shame. From glimpses we have seen, I think he would have helped alongside Chaiwa and Barlaser. Barney said, geez, Ian, give the new guys a break, just in the door and thrown in the deep end. Tog said Paslak got his arse on a plate a few times, but it's his first game. Rocky too looked good as well. Tog said we'd always have Mulligan and McGrath in midfield as well. Dan said Suto. Aye, the Scarlet, Pimpernel, Nicky Cadden and Suto are key for the derby. and Togs asked me and wondered when 11 was going to be brought up. J Star said, this happens. They start having conversations in the comments, and I'm like, he's replying to somebody in there, and I get lost with it. Kieran said, I understand we've had a few players in, but we have been rubbish almost the entire season. Just good players in certain positions winning us games. Have to score 3 goals to win a game far too often. Barney said, I thought we played some nice football in spells, but it was poor defending at the corners that cost us. We defended well enough in open play, and United had a few really tall players. Jane Sandy said, I've said this before, but Iredale and Nicky get the best out of each other. No coincidence that the run we had last season, Obita got injured and they were regular starters. It's an interesting point. WTO Rules said, I worried before the game that Gray would pick a team of strangers after all the new boys were available. I was right to be concerned. The new guys are clearly good players, but look short of match sharpness. And again, that's a good point as well. Paul said, just shows you how good the players are. They've basically got us to where we are in the league. Imagine how good we would be, where we would be in the league with a tactically astute manager and coach. Joe, what did you make of the transfer window then? How would you assess it?
First of all, I agree with one of the comments that was made just now about Garanga. Of the 3 loan players we've got, I think he's the one we're most likely to be able to sign on permanent, because the other 2 young guys are likely to go back to their parent clubs of Spurs and Coventry. But I really agree. I think he could be really good for us. Big, dominant, backy. So I must agree with that comment, first of all. I think our transfer window has been excellent. It's too early to say, obviously, for all 6 of them, but it looks very promising. And we've spent the Kieran Bowie money well, or a chunk of it well, I would say. So I think the transfer window has been very good for Hibs, albeit very last minute. I agree with Ian. Some of the deals should have been done earlier, but apparently Palliser, for instance, we wanted that deal done, and it took a month to get there, but we got there in the end.
Yeah, Paslak said he expected to be in early January, and I know we said on the phone in the episode that Hibs expected to be in earlier. It was interesting. Suto actually spoke about being contacted by Hibs last year as well, so that one's been tracked for a bit as well. And I think there's maybe the difference between wanting to get somebody in early and being able to get somebody in early is not quite necessarily the same thing. Joe, do you think the type of players that we've brought in give Gray more options to sort of deviate for the 5-3-2?
No question. Or... I mean, if you look at the 2 strikers, I mean, Suto and Captain Scarlett. I mean, we'll not keep Captain Scarlett. He'll go back to Spurs. But I think we should start both of them against Hearts next week. I think that the pair of them will be a real handful. I really do. I think, as I've said in previous podcasts, I think Martin Boyle is past his best now. He's been a great 7 and yes, he scored last night. But by and large, I would keep him for the 60-minute. David Gray always does his subs around about 60, 65 minutes, at least a couple. I think Boyle coming on as an impact sub might be a better use of him, especially with the players we've just brought in.
Things that Bowie did in the European games, they got 2 players sent off. It gets laughed at by the Scottish referees when the defenders do it to him up here.
Yeah, this is true.
I think we forget that. I mean, in terms of how Bowie plays, ball in front, back to player. I mean, he was getting fouled left, right, and centre in Europe, and the referees gave it. I mean, and he became really effective in that. Come to Scotland, and I mean, let's not talk about Colin Stephen last night and understand why he's refereed in the Championship all season. I mean, because that's the level that people like Bowie are having to play their game at. So when we turn around and say we've got 6.7 million, I mean, again, I didn't think we would get that value for him, if I'm honest, because I didn't think the way that he was performing in the league was going to be good enough. But again, clearly clubs are looking at more than that. So that was a really good bit of business for him, because I think he's going to a league where his skill set and what he does will improve. They like their big strikers there, and I'm never averse to a Hibs striker going to an Italian team. The rest of it feels as if we were then filling in spaces. So Garananja's come in. Now we lost the laddie Mitchell back to Charlton, but we then lose Hanley for 4 weeks. It certainly looked like his hamstring when he went down. I mean, older player looking to go to the World Cup isn't going to come back quickly. So we needed somebody in. The fact that they had somebody lined up, I mean, we brought in a player who's played 6 Champions League ties this season. So yeah, thumbs up for having that one in the back burner to do. I think Andrews has come in because he's not going to play ahead of McGrath or Mulligan when they're fit. I mean, but he adds something to midfield. We said a few months ago whether he was interested in signing a new deal. And let's be honest, if the contract talks between Hibs and Levitt's agent have not gone anywhere very early doors, he was unlucky to pick up the appendicitis, which then knocked him out for sort of that 4 to 6 week period. The writing's on the wall. I mean, if he's leaving at the end of the season and there's the opportunity to let him go out the door, I mean, rather than sort of almost hang around like a stink that everybody knows is leaving out the door. Not saying that his attitude was bad, but there's just that idea that when everybody knows, that you then start questioning effort level, or you just don't want to get injured. Have you got another deal set? I mean, that's the best for everybody. Clegy, given the formation that we put out last night, is the strangest in the world, because that's the first time that we've put out a formation that I think Clegy would have excelled in. I mean, we've tried to play him as part of a 2 up against big 3 centre backs all season.
Yeah.
I mean, last night we go and we play 3 up front, 3 committed up front. Cleage's strengths, I mean, he's got a good jump in him, but his ability to pick up the ball, keep possession, pass it around, bring other players into it, see a pass. I mean, those are the sort of things, I mean, that you look for. But I think Jack got it right. I mean, it's going to be, he's away there. And if he performs over this half of the season, the team decide whether they want to play him. So no, I think they've done well in terms of what cards they've had sitting waiting, what they've had to do, what gaps they've had to fill in the squad. So yes, it's a busy 4 or 5 days. Have we come out of it better? Yeah, but and during the transfer window we got 5 points out of 12 and we got knocked out the cup. I mean, so that's where the question about actually where the holes there earlier and needy filled. Bad luck at losing Mulligan against Dunfermline, but there's a slowness there. They now just have to kick on.
Okay, right, John, I'll stick with you in just a second. Just catch up on the YouTube comments, and I'll get your thoughts on Tuesday night's derby. I'm not sure if something happened on the stream. So James Sandy said, "We system crash there, lads," and Dan says, "A glitch in the matrix, and every country swap places." I don't know if we've just been replaced by our new AI overlords while we've been on air here. So hopefully you are hearing the same thing as we are saying, and we've not been chat GPT'd. Kieran says, "We've rubbish most of the season, been so unbalanced, changing the teams most weeks, trying to find something that works, conceding loads of goals and out of 3 competitions." John said, "Out of the 6 brought in, how many are actually ours?" There's only 2. So Eldon and Suto are both ours. Did we sign?
It was Paslak.
Paslak, so 3 out of the 6.
Yep.
Erin said, "Everyone's overreacting. David Gray has steadied the ship at the club and he's only been a manager for 1.5 years. I think he'll benefit by having more time as a manager." Dan said, "Sack the technicians, aka Matty." Somebody mentioned about getting rid of Mio Ferris earlier on Hibsnet as well. There's like a petition happening, something, but good luck with that. And Erin says, "The European games have been good." And I think there's maybe some sound issues as well. But yeah, turn it off and turn it on again is the advice from for Kieran and John, and hopefully that sorts it out right. John, derby on Tuesday night. How would you set up and how do you see it going?
Wee quick line on David Gray. If he finishes top 6, he's the first manager to do it in 20 years at Hibs. I mean, I understand that there are lots of folk who don't have it for him. And I pick up Andrew's sort of kick on sort of line. His cups are murdering them in terms of his performance. The fact that we haven't had a day out at Hampden since the Aberdeen game, when we hammered them and then got beat by 10 men. I mean, is playing against great. in terms of the narrative. But yeah, if he gets top 6, first time in 20 years. So I think a bit of consistency, but yeah, let's not get as dull as Alex Miller did in the 80s.
Aye.
Um,
I think we're pretty much nailed
terms
on
of
for
next
top
week.
6 now, going by the gap that we won. So we're not quite guaranteed, but I would be very surprised if we weren't top 6 for this
Absolutely.
position.
It's I mean, let's face it. There's a point 10 years ago we'd be saying nearly at 40 points, so that's us avoided relegation.
Mm-hmm.
Know what I mean? So it's there's lots there, but just in terms of trying to get a slightly different view. In terms of Tuesday, we have to go back to something much closer to what was played on Sunday. And I think in terms, as much of that is about attitude, application, and a bit of cohesion in the team. I think that's something that was missing last night. We've got no problem playing the long channel ball, particularly if we've got Scarlett up top. I mean, in terms of his ability to take the ball in and move. But no, but it's go back to the Rangers game on Sunday. Look at the strengths that we brought from that, and go in and realise that we're not the ones that are fragile going into this game.
Oh, the pressure's all on
I
them,
mean,
100%, isn't it?
And this doesn't feel like 86 because in 86, Hearts were just gliding through. I mean, this feels much more like a McInnes team that couldn't do it when Celtic had shite managers and Hibs, Hearts and Rangers weren't in the division. I mean, can he quite pull it off?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we have to go in there absolutely sorted, get the attitude and application right, and their crowd has the real potential to become really horrible for them on Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so
it's a crowd
let's
that
go
gets
and
ugly
do.
quickly.
Yeah, we've seen our crowd. I mean, how many folk heard the cheer for the equaliser? I mean, walking down Albion Place last night.
Mm-hmm.
No, I mean, so all crowds do that, but because of where they are, because of the expectation they've set, we've played them twice this season. It was even the last time we were there, and it was a last-minute goal, second phase for the corner. We had played them for 60 minutes at Easter Road. No, I mean, and just let things come away from us. They will not be. They will. One McInnes will be putting them out firing, but it'll be an ugly 20, 25 minutes. Just stay in the game, keep the pressure on them. Look at the goal they gave away against it, or the red card against St Mirren. They try and play football with defenders that can.
Mm-hmm. Give me a score prediction, John.
2-1 the Hibs.
Nice one, right? Ian, same question to you. How do you see it going, and what's the score going to be?
I agree with most of what John said. 2-1 I agree with as well. Pretty much what John said, we have to play the same way as we did against Rangers. Well, obviously, I don't know if Hanley or Abita is going to be available. I would start with Sutu and Boyle up front. I think we're going to beat them.
Okay, right. And you went with the 2-1 as well, yeah?
Yep.
Okay, Joe, same with you?
I think it's going to be a really interesting game, and I think it'll be a scoring draw, something like 3-3.
Bloody hell. We had a 3-3 derby for I mean, we obviously nearly had one the last time, but I can't remember the last really high scoring draw that we had with them, but I'd probably take a draw. If I absolutely had to.
A draw is a better result for us than it is for Hearts.
Aye, exactly. Andrew, same question to you.
Yeah, I think I'll go for 3-2. I've got to hit Braga early, stop them singing that stupid song, and really drive them. I think set pieces are undoing. So as long as we got that sorted out, I think we'll do it the hard way. I think we'll go 2-1 up. We'll score a third, and they'll get one back, and then it'll be never last 5 minutes. But no, I'm quite confident. I'm same as the other guy.
About it, Jack. Last word to you then. What would you do for the derby, and what's the score going to be?
I would say 3-0 Hibs. Dan Scarlett to score, and Boyle and Suto, and I'd have Boyle and Suto up front.
Okay, well, there's a pint waiting in the pub if that happens, Jack. For you, I'll send you a pint what a night that'd be. Right, that will do us there. We will be back on I don't know what day is this. This is Thursday. I'm off thrown out because we had a midweek game and we're a day late with the phone in.
Yeah.
So tomorrow we'll be back 4 o'clock. Colin and John and myself will preview the derby a bit, and then on Sunday for our usual episode, because we'll not have a game to review, we'll kind of just open up, I think, to questions and talking points for folks. So do join us live on YouTube from 8 o'clock on Sunday and get involved with that. Everybody, thanks very much for coming on. Thanks for everybody left comments in the YouTube section as well. And